Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories. Oh, and I've been longing to hold you close. Forget about everyone else. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories. Making our Christmas
Hey y'all, welcome to another night of Vlogmas. Welcome to this year's rap chat. This has become something very requested. This was, in the beginning, it was just, I was like, okay, I need a video idea. I need to wrap gifts. I might as well wrap gifts and talk and film that, because I used to fold clothes and talk and film that. So it's kind of the same thing. And you guys love it. It was just sort of a space filler in the beginning, and then it became sort of therapeutic for me. We get to talk about a lot of stuff. I open up the floor on Instagram and ask y'all questions, or leave a box for y'all to ask me questions to see what y'all want me to talk about during this series or episode or video or whatever you want to call it. So I'm now just looking. I haven't really had the chance to look at what you guys have said. So I am looking now. Like I said, this has become therapeutic for me, and this is a video, and I feel like a comfortable, safe space for me to open up and talk about some stuff. I went to look today at last year's, and it's so crazy. I brought up baby number 2 in that video, and about 2 months later was pregnant. Unplanned. When I hit on some things that you guys have asked, and I might go a little further in depth of other stuff, who knows, wherever the Lord leads me is where we're going to go. So let's actually make this productive as well, because I got quite a bit of stuff to wrap. So I'm only wrapping Mila's stuff. Ellis, of course, he ain't even going to be 2 months old. He'll almost be 2 months old. In like 5 more days from Christmas, he'll be 2 months old. So I'm only putting stuff in a stocking and sitting stuff in front of the tree for him. That's what we did with Mila when she was that old. I'm not wrapping. That's just foolish for me to do that. So I'm only wrapping Mila's, and then me and Cody are only doing stocking stuff for each other. So if it can't fit in a stocking, I'll just hand it to him or stick it in a bag. And then everybody else got gift bags. I'm just keeping it real. I did want to show y'all this stuff though before I put it in a box. I got some of the cutest stuff from H&M for her and for him. Look at this little peplum shirt and the leggings. And I got more stuff, but I'm only going to wrap these. Cute little sweater set with the joggers. I love this kind of stuff for her in the winter. But anyway, so first thing, let me just pick. There's gonna be a lot of baby asking questions, and hopefully this light isn't too like much. I know it's making me look, my forehead look crazy, but this is the easiest place for me to wrap gifts. There's a lot of kid, baby, family questions. So I guess we'll start with that, and we'll go with, this is the transition from 1 baby to 2. I will, Lord willing, be making the leap in the new year. I guess you're asking me, how was the transition for us? I have always wondered that. Like, I've asked people that before, like which transition is harder, 0 to 1 or 1 to 2? And I don't think either one of them was necessarily hard. I've said so many times before that I felt like I was meant to be a mama, and I just didn't know, as far as like God's timing, when that was going to happen. And then when we had Mila, it was like, man, he was like, he gave me every single thing I needed to be able to take the best possible care of her, like mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, everything that I needed. I just felt so equipped to be a mama. And then, if anything, it was easier this time around, only because we had like a routine down. Things were not out of the ordinary for us. We were already used to, making changes of leaving the house and going places. So if anything, it was easier in that sense, because we had already adapted and made those changes in our life that we needed to with a kid. So in that aspect, I think it's easier to go from 1 to 2, because you're already doing, stuff anyway. And good luck to all of you that are trying to conceive, or any of you that have been trying to conceive, especially in the holiday season, having gone through that season of life. I feel like this is really hard. It's a hard time to be in if you're, you know, your heart's yearning for a baby, and you feel like you're missing that piece of your family puzzle. This time of year I feel like is extra hard because, you know, you're seeing other people getting to be so blessed to have these privileges of spending the holidays with their kids, and, you know, we get to do all this fun stuff with them, and you're also around family members and they might not know what you're going through and, you know, what your heart's desire is, and they're like, well, when you gonna give us one, and when you gonna have one, and blah blah blah, and they just keep on. And you know what, even if some of them know, it's almost like they just can't, they don't know anything else to say. Like, they can't come up with a better conversation besides, when are you gonna have a baby? So yeah, of course, the holidays, you're around family members that maybe you're not normally around otherwise, and they would bring up that type of conversation. So yeah, my heart goes out to all of you that are in that season of waiting right now. I know how it feels. So just know that you are not alone in this, and I'm sure there are many more women watching this that feel the same way as you do. So you are definitely not alone. Somebody said, how do you organize pictures you have taken of Mila? Is it by yearly or half a year? I don't know if you mean by, like, actually printing pictures out. Do people still print pictures? I probably should. I feel like maybe that would, because I don't think social media and phones will be around. Like, they're not, like, it's not something that can just, it's, okay, phones and internet is something that can easily be messed with and things can vanish. So I probably do need to actually print and have it in my hand, pictures of her and stuff. Now, I do have some books and stuff that I've done. I've done chapbooks. I've done one like per year, and it's not technically like for her, but it's just of the entire year of our family, and just like big moments, and not even big, but big moments, small moments, all the moments in between that I want to, you know, remember. So I've got a 2019 one. I didn't start them until 2019 because I had a few, like I've done them for like our wedding, our engagement photos, stuff like that. But 2019 was the year that I got pregnant with Mila. That was also the year we had Mila. The way it fell was everything happened within that year. So we say 2019 was the year of Mila. So I got a 2019 one made. I did a 2020 one, and now I will be working on, since, you know, we're coming to the end of 2021, I will be working on the 2021 one, which will of course be the year of Alice. I'm really excited to do that chapbook. I've never worked with chapbooks before. I know they work with quite a bit of like influencers and stuff I've seen. They advertise that like monthly book thing. I ain't about that monthly book life, because those take up a lot of room in your house when you've got, can you imagine having, I mean, I know they're little thin books, but that's 12 books for 1 year. Nah, I'll stick with my one book a year. And you can do as many, you know, pages as you want, and however many pictures you want, but you can design the cover and all that stuff. Or if you don't really necessarily want to design one, you can just pick one you already got. But yeah, it's really easy. They have their own app, and it connects to the pictures that are on your phone, so you can just easily just put them all on there without having to look for them, and it has them in order. So I like that, because I like to go from, you know, January to December and pick the pictures that I want, and not miss anything. Like sometimes I'll get to a point I'm like, oh, I missed so and so, but this, you can't miss it, because it literally takes you through each month and you pick the pictures. I really, my, like, the OCD in me loves that. This year's wrapping paper is from Marshall's, and I don't remember the name brand. I do have 2 rolls of it though, just in case, because I didn't know exactly how big that roll was and how much I needed to wrap. I like this because it's almost like that craft butcher block, not butcher block, but the butcher paper, but it has a little bit of a design on it, and I thought this would match both of these trees in here. I wasn't quite sure which one I was going to put it under, if I was going to put it under this one or what, but I like it. Now, I'm pretty sure I said this last year, and if I didn't, then here we go. I am not a fancy wrapper. I wrap to cover up a gift, okay? So you can't see what it is. I am not one of those that's trying to make it all fancy. Now, do I aspire to be? In my mind, yes, but in reality, I will take it, you know, a step further and add these little cheap bows. These are the Martha Stewart ones, so they're a little bit bigger and fancier than the, you know, the really teeny tiny ones that I used to put on. No need to put any names on them because they're all Mila's. I need to know what kind of gift person you are. Are you the type that wraps everything and then automatically puts it under the tree right then? Or do you hide it? You wrap it and you go store it somewhere. Also, are you the ones that wrap it the night before? Or like, what is your situation there in your house? How do you do it? Mama would pick a day, and she would lock herself in her bedroom after she had hid it in her closet. She didn't hide it very well. And I surely was not the child that didn't look. I looked, honey. I looked. And I know with Mila's nosy little self, she will be looking. So I'm going to be getting all kinds of creative. I have seen parents say they hide it in suitcases and they put it in their closet, or they put it in the trunks of their car. They put it in the attic. Bathrooms that are not used, they put it into the tub. Different stuff like that. So pretty much anywhere that you know your child ain't gonna look. I'm hoping in the new year I'm going to, this tape is keeping me around. I'm hoping in the new year I am going to get around to redoing this table. If y'all have been around for a bit, then you would remember me redoing it in the first place. And it was a process. So a part of me kind of doesn't even want to refinish it, but I have, the stain and stuff has wore on the top. So even if I didn't like completely redo it, I do need to like sand down the top and restain it. So I'm gonna have to redo something to it anyway. So in case you're wondering what I have in mind for it, I'm thinking something more along the lines of just all being, instead of the two-tone look that it's got going on, more of like a natural, neutral colored wood. I'm not a fan of the really like orangey yellow undertone wood, which is what our floors are. Not a fan of that, never have been. But I do love, you know, the natural wooden color. Yeah, that's kind of the color that I'm thinking. Almost like the color of this paper, I guess. Just like a natural wood color. So I'm thinking if I strip the stain and paint off, I should be able to sand it and get it down to that, because it wasn't really dark in the first place. It was like that yellowy. You can sort of kind of see it over here where the stain is. I mean, it's still somewhat dark, but that's about as similar as you're going to get. I haven't decided if I'm going to do the chairs as well, or if I want to just buy black chairs and give a nice little contrast. I'm not so sure just yet, because I'm like, well, I have the chairs. We're planning on, and I know somebody did ask about house hunting and all that, so I guess I'll go ahead and merge into that question. We still are looking, and I would, of course, like to have a new table for that. Not necessarily need a new table, but I would assume, knowing what we want, that the space would be a little bit more spacious. So I would need a bigger table to fill it. So that's why I don't want to put a whole lot of effort and money into this one when there's a possibility that, you know, we won't have it for much longer. Which brings me to an update on house hunting. So if you guys, I don't know if I mentioned it in a vlog or if I just said it on Instagram, but probably I think it was our last house hunting video. I got a really creepy message. And I don't know if I said this last year or this year, or I don't know, but I got a creepy message And it was actually like the video of us looking at the house. Somebody asked, they were like out of state people, and they were thinking about moving to North Carolina, and they wanted to know about how much something like that cost with that much land and blah blah blah. And for one, I'm like, well, that's an easy question to answer for yourself. You just go to Zillow or Realtor and look. You can look and see how much they are without, it was almost, that wasn't the creepy comment, it was the reply to that comment. But that's in my head, I'm like, why don't you just go look? That's one of my pet peeves, y'all, is when somebody asks you something that they could literally go and look up. Like, it's the easiest thing for them to go and look up, but they're going to go and plague you to ask you. Because it sort of come off to me as also being nosy, trying to figure out what our price range was. Because if we're looking at it, then of course it was in our price range. So that's, maybe they weren't, but that's not the part that we're talking about here. So the person, the creepy comment was under that, and they responded and told them exactly how much it was, how many acres it was on, and all this stuff that I obviously did not make public. I didn't say anything because we were looking at the house, and I'm not going to make it public because what if there's a possibility that we bought it, and I don't want to, you know, put our house out there. That's, you know, I think that's personal. Not a matter of, I think it is personal. So I weren't going to say all that because we hadn't really decided or not if we were going to get it or not, because it was still kind of out in the country, and we're trying to get a little bit closer to civilization. So we didn't want to like write it off completely because it was a really nice house. But this person said all of that in the comments, which means they went and looked it up. Like they either, when I put it up, knew about the area that we're in, because it's no secret that I say, you know, we're in the Wilmington area. So they probably went and looked and hunted down the house, because all I showed was interior, you know, video footage. So either they looked through it and found it, or maybe they're in the area and are looking too and just happen to see it. But it was super creepy to me that they knew the house that I was looking at, and they told that information. Maybe it's not creepy to all of you that are watching, but it was creepy to me. And after that, I said that I was not doing any more house hunting videos. Of course, when the day comes, and the Lord sees fit for us to finally get up out of this house, then I will share that process after we've bought it and we've closed and we've got the keys and we're in it. You will not know when our house is for sale. You will not know when we, like, it's just, people are just mean. People are mean these days, and they're full of the devil. And it's not everybody. It's not even the majority. But those few people ruin it for everybody else. So you kind of just have to do things in silence and behind the scenes. And then if things work out, when the time is right, you can say it. But yeah. So that is the update on that. And no, we haven't found anything. I know I just said I wouldn't be telling you, but the market is just so crazy right now. It has been for the last year. There's nothing really on the market, and what is on the market is ridiculously overpriced. Like, a new house will pop up every once in a blue moon, and me and Cody look at it and we're like, are they serious? You want $500,000 for this house? What? That makes things hard, because you don't want to overpay for something that when the market does whatever it's going to do later on, you'll be upside down, and you don't want to do all of that. And so it's just, it's a lot. But we also know that we hadn't planned on being here forever, and I know that God's gonna see us through this. It's not like we're living in a hole in the ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're blessed to be where we are, so can't complain. Is it hard to be on social media and seeing all these people moving and all that? Yeah. I know that's the case with a lot of stuff though. Like I mentioned earlier, like trying to have babies and you're seeing all these people have babies around you, and social media has just made it super easy to compare and be jealous of other people because all their good things are right out there in front of you. It makes it very hard to keep your emotions in check. Y'all, we are on the struggle bus with the spit up, the acid reflux. We did not deal with this with Mila. And if we did, I don't remember. I need to go back and like watch some stuff. I almost feel like she did have a little bit of it. A part of me remembers having to give her medicine, but then again, I don't. And I do not remember having to go through so many outfits and so many burp cloths. And when I say outfits, I mean mine and his. Cleaning chairs, cleaning rugs, because it's just like sheets. I don't remember all of this with Mila. Maybe I'm crazy, and I don't know. I don't think she had reflux. I could be wrong. I don't know. I need to go back and watch a video or something and relive those moments. That's what he got. For Christmas, he got more burp cloths. I'm not even joking. I was like, this year, buddy, I'm sorry. There ain't a whole lot that you're going to be using anyway. And you got a lot of hand-me-downs from sis. We bought him some pacifier clips, like teething toy things, and burp cloths. I mean, and diapers, you know, stuff that he needed. But, I mean, he's not really going to be messing with anything. So, Easter, he'll get a basket full of some goodies. Because he'll start, like, actually, he'll be sitting up probably by that point and chewing on everything. So, he'll get more, you know, fun stuff then. But this first Christmas, you know, he's not old enough to, you know. Mila, I'm hoping will really like these. I've seen a lot of kids, the magnetic tiles. They're called Magna tiles if you get the real brand. But this one's from Sam's. And this is a 100-piece set for like $20. And they are heavy. This box is heavy. But they're just like little tiles with magnets in them. And she likes putting stuff together. So I'm going to imagine she would thoroughly enjoy this. And I think it'll be something fun for us to do with her. Okay, nobody asked me about this, but I finished this season today. And I have to ask. I know somebody here watches Selling Sunset. I finished season 4. Yeah, season 4. And yo, I need to know your thoughts and feelings on Christine. I feel like she's a master manipulator, but also at the same time, and it may be because she's a master manipulator that makes me second guess thinking that she's a master manipulator. Like there's something not quite right with her. I don't know. And if she is, I'm also wondering how her husband just stood by and listened and didn't call her out and say, like, what? Because Cody is not going on. He's Team Paige all day long. He is my #1 supporter. But if I'm standing there bold-faced lying to somebody, he is not going to let me just stand there and lie. Not happening. He is going to call me out on it, which is why I married him. Because I respect that in him. I would do the same to him, you know. I'm not gonna, no, I want the best for you. I am not having you out here looking crazy. And you ain't having me out here looking crazy. So, but not just that. Okay, so they showed the clips. So they've already, I guess, wrapped up filming for season 5. And they're like a little teaser or whatever. Am I the only one that's seen Chriselle kissing whichever one of the twins? Excuse me. Like, I know you went through a bad breakup and all with her ex-husband. But wait a minute. One of the little twins? Was it a joke? Were y'all just like, I'm confused. But she grabbed his head like that man belonged to her. So I don't know. I don't know. And I tried to look up when they were coming out with season 5. And there is no information that I found. And if you know something that I don't, comment it, because I'm just like, don't tell me though if they were really, don't do green yet, if they're together or not. I do want to be surprised. But if you know when season 5 is going to be released on Netflix, that you can let me know. That just had me all kinds of shook. And since we're talking about being shook, let's talk about the Sex and the City reboot. Everybody's talking about it right now as I'm filming this. I am filming this a little early. What's today? the 10th or something. So I'm a few days early on this when you're seeing this. And I've only watched the first episode. And I watched it at about 1 o'clock last night / this morning. Because I was up dream feeding Ellis. And I didn't get to like feel the emotions of the first episode because I was preoccupied feeding Ellis. So I was like looking at him, make sure he weren't spitting up, because like I said, he's spit up champ. And I had just washed the sheets yesterday, so I was trying to make sure he didn't ruin the sheets that I had just washed. So I'm, you know, watching him, looking at it, watching it, looking at it. And I knew, let's just go ahead. If you haven't watched it, fast forward. When she mentioned that, oh, you're having a cigar and you're doing a Peloton ride today, when she said that, it stuck out to me. And I was like, why? Okay, first off, old man, why are you smoking a cigar and you about to go and do this ride? Instructor says a 45-minute class. I was like, old man's doing a 45-minute class? Not saying that the elder folks can't get in a 45-minute class, but he had just smoked a cigar. He be drinking. I'm just like, come on now. How old is he at this point? And he out here doing all of this. And as she's sitting there and the music's getting more intense, I'm looking at him. I already had a feeling something was going to happen. But then he finishes his class, and I'm like, okay, well, he finished a class. I was expecting him to fall off the bike, like to completely collapse off the bike. He did not. So I was like, okay, maybe I thought too much into it. Maybe I just thought too much into it. And as it continued, he's able to text Carrie. He turns the shower on, and all of this starts, and then he starts collapsing. I want to know what was the time limit, or not the time limit, but the length of time between him first hitting the floor and started, you know, his arm goes numb and all of whatever happens when you're having a heart attack. And Carrie trying to get a taxi back to their house. What was the time? Because he's just sitting there. And I know it's like, oh, he's waiting for his, you know, he doesn't leave until he can see her. I know the romance behind that, maybe that's what but I'm like, really? That's not realistic. How long would he have sat there? And then my next thing was, he didn't die. I haven't got to the second episode yet, but I'm pretty sure I seen a casket on the thumbnail of the second episode. So, I mean, it's insinuated that he died at the end of the episode. But he was blinking, y'all, and his arm was moving. But I'm also so concerned with Carrie. Like, Carrie, why didn't you call for help? Like, I know you wanted to hold him and be there for him, but why didn't you call somebody? He was still moving. It wasn't too late. I feel like somebody could have been called and maybe could have been saved. Now, if I was to tell Mama this, Mama would have said, well, Danielle, that ain't what the script says. Listen, that ain't what the script said, but like, why? Y'all, we have waited, us Sex and the City fans that have watched every episode, every movie. I know the movies are not the same as the show. Not at all the same, but I love them. I love all of them. I loved the movies before I ever loved the show. That was me. So I watched the movies first before I watched the show. And I watched the movies when I was single, before I got married, and then I watched the show within the past like 3 or 4 years when I watched the show. Fell in love with it. Cody was like, what in the devil are you watching? I loved it. Binged it, watched every episode. And of course, you know, they didn't really reveal their relationship until the end. And then if you watch the movies, of course, then it shows her and Big's relationship. And then, of course, crashing and burning and then coming back together again. But us fans have waited, you know, to see their love story be played out in this show and in the series. And y'all kill him in the first episode. I kept seeing people say, don't watch it, it's horrible, don't watch it. And I'm like, are they saying it's horrible because they don't like how they're doing the show? And then when I watched it, now I'm realizing, okay, maybe they were saying it's horrible because they kill him off and are pissed about it. Maybe that's why. Did I wrap all that already? Look at me! So I did get a question about how my family was doing with the changes and stuff that's been going on, and how, like, an update on my daddy. And I don't talk much about it because I am, to say that, you know, my life is lived out publicly on social media. For the most part, I am a decently private person. I don't air out my dirty laundry. I keep stuff to myself because I feel like that is what you should be doing. And so yeah, I haven't talked about it a whole lot, but I know that I've gotten questions, and I feel as if I'm going to address it here. And I'm sure a lot of times when we go to address stuff, the people that need, the ones that have asked are not even going to be the ones that ends up actually watching this part. But, you know, hopefully so. And then maybe you won't ask as much. So that's really why we end up having to answer this stuff, is so y'all kind of give us a little bit of a break. But anyway, so I've gotten questions about like how my daddy is and all the family situations. So if you don't know, my daddy he's had a few strokes over the past few years, and the last one that he had was more significant than the others, to the point that there's so much that's happened, I'm trying to even remember everything, but he is now in like an assisted living place. He was in like what would you call it, a rehab facility, where they were trying to help him, you know, get back the use of his arm and his comprehension and all of that. So like when I said this one was the worst one, so the ones we had before, he was able to go to like speech therapy, work a little bit, and then he finally, you know, got back good enough to where he was able to go back to work. He was able to drive, all of that. Well, this one was not, that wasn't the case this time. It was, like I said, significantly worse. He went through some occupational therapy, speech therapy, physical therapy, but the honest truth, and there's a possibility he's going to be watching this, I don't know, which is probably another reason why I don't say a whole lot, because I am not, like, I'm an emotional person, and I've tried to be more vulnerable, and I've said this before, I've tried to be more vulnerable because I want to be vulnerable for my kids, and I want to show them that it's okay, and you need to express your feelings and talk things through, and you shouldn't bottle things up, which is probably why I haven't talked about it, because I'm like, well, if daddy sees it, I'm like, how is that going to go from here on, you know, like, so I just don't say anything. But my tree just turned off, but I've gotten so many questions, and I'm trying to figure out a way to say this. I've gotten so many questions about things and how things are going, and I've seen people say that I know your mama is just so, you know, whipped out because mama is in an apartment now, and I guess based off of the pieces of information that I've given you, because I'm also not trying to air out my, you know, parents' business, but at the same time, I have been, of course, thrown in the middle of it, so it's my business. And they've definitely made it my business over the past 30 years. So what I'm trying to say is they are not happy. And by not happy, I don't mean they're not happy that they're not together now. They are not happy with each other. And they have not been for a very, very long time. Very long time. And when I say long time, I don't know when they were happy with each other. And if it was, I don't know if I was alive at that time. And if it, maybe I was so small that I don't remember. But my whole life, I told myself I was not going to cry on this one. I was going to keep it light. Okay. My whole life, pretty much, I never seen like a happy, loving relationship. I didn't live in that kind of house. And I'm not doing all of this. If my daddy is watching, I don't want to talk about it. Like don't try to, no, we're not talking about it. We were always, mama always had us, you know, like daddy didn't choose to be a part of what was going on. And I know that's probably going to be hard for some of you to hear and to realize, because all of y'all seen him react to finding out I was pregnant with Mila. and you've seen this emotional crying man, and all of you just like your hearts went out to him. You all assumed that he was present in my life and was this emotional father, and he was going to be so excited for his first grandchild. And I'm not saying that he weren't so excited for Mila, but he was not present. Those emotions that he showed were a total surprise and a shock to us. Like, I felt like my whole life I just kept trying to, kept trying to do things to make him proud of me, like to show off, and you know, like just to, I guess, to get attention. And he just never did. You know, he had other stuff to go that was going on in his life, and it was so strange to me how we all lived under the same roof, but he never done anything with us. Him and Mama were miserable. And then when he got sick this last time, it was so bad on Mama. And there were like, and I don't like I said, I don't want to like air out laundry or anything, but I'm also at the same time want to keep it real. I don't want to come off like I'm ignoring you or, you know, like avoiding questions. I guess I am avoiding questions because, like I said, I don't want to put all our business in the streets. But at the same time, I feel like getting this off my chest is going to be therapeutic for me. Like I mentioned in the beginning, these rap chats are therapeutic, and I can talk and share my feelings. But we always knew what kind of man he was, and how, you know, like I said, he missed out on a lot of stuff by choice. He didn't want to be a part of our lives for the most part. He had his own things. He was very selfish. He still is very selfish. When he got sick this last time, you know, he comes back, and of course now he needs even more help than he ever has. And I was always the one to push Mama and to push my brother, and like, y'all can't, you know, you got to do this for him, you got to do this and do this. I was always the one that was leading that, because even though he's done all these things, I was still trying to, like, okay, he's still, you know, and hopefully he's going to do better this time. He's going to, because he would tell you every time he got sick, he was going to do better. And then it would roll around and he did not. It was almost as if he would use you to get better, and then he didn't. And then my end of that was me being pregnant with Mila. And, you know, he did the whole crying thing. And I was like, okay. I guess a part of me was just like, okay, finally he's going to be present. And maybe this is what he always wanted. You know, he's not a good daddy. Maybe he'll be a good granddaddy, because you don't have to be as present to be a granddaddy, you know. So maybe I'm like, and then he vanished. I didn't hear from him much while I was pregnant with Mila. And then he tries to pop up when I've had her. And he comes to see her that one day. And like, it just, that was it for me. Like, I had checked out. I was checked out. And then he ended up having that stroke by that next year. Pretty much within like another year, he had a stroke, and that was the one that was bad. And then so he didn't get to come to her birthday party, which I'm assuming he would have come to her birthday party. But I also wasn't like holding my breath for him to come to it. So, and then things got progressively worse as far as like selfishness goes, because now he's using, you know, that kind of against us. And really all of this finally gave my mama an out, because I think for just, and Mama, I'm so sorry if you're watching this and you're probably crying, but she could not, I mean, she could not take care of him. She shouldn't have, I mean, like, had to take care of him, because, I mean, they should have been separated a very, very, very long time ago. But she didn't want to put us in that kind of situation. She didn't want us to be, you know, kids of divorced parents. And so she lived in a very uncomfortable situation and did everything for us. Even though I kept telling her, I mean, it was obvious. I mean, I was growing up and I was like, Mama, why don't you just leave him? Like, here I was a middle schooler and I was having these conversations with Mama, because it was very clear. But she just brushed it off and never told us a whole lot of stuff that was going on until I got older. But I knew what was going on for, you know, a certain extent. But now, you know, she finally got an out because he was, you know, so bad to the point that, and he's not going to take care of himself. He's not going to try to do better because he wants other people to take care of him for him. So that's why he's in an assisted living place now, because, you know, nobody was going to be able to, mama could not afford to quit her job to take care of him. She had to work. I mean, somebody's got to pay for stuff. So he had to go somewhere. So of course he did all the whatever paperwork of stuff to, so now that's where he's at. And our relationship, like I said, has never been great. And then it was pretty much, I was, you know, like I said, clocked out after Mila. And then he's done some things while being sick, to my mama, as far as like somewhat kicking her out and like just different. I don't want to, like I said, go into detail, but it was just enough for me to be completely done. And I want to make it clear that I am not crying over my daddy. I don't want it to come off as me being so sad about my daddy and what he's done. I have come to terms with that. I guess my emotions are for my mama, because I'm being married with 2 kids myself now, a boy and a girl, and I see how present Cody is. I know things were hard for my mama because she worked, and she's the type of person, or she's the type of mama that likes to be present and stuff. And I know that she couldn't be for some stuff because she's working and, you know, trying to get us things that we wanted. So that's what my tears are for. They're for my mama. But I'm very happy for her right now. She's in a good place. And let me just make it very clear, I don't need anybody coming in the comments trying to tell me to do this and do that and whatever about my daddy. I don't. Like I said, I've come to terms with it. I have prayed about this thing on numerous occasions. I talked to Cody at numerous occasions about it. You know, Cody talks to him, and Cody, he'll FaceTime some and he sees the babies and stuff. But yeah, I can't continue to be manipulated, and I cannot continue to be put in that spot. And he always put me in a bad spot, and I cannot do that. But let's wrap this one. All right, I think that is the last one I am wrapping. I feel like this was a pretty productive one. I don't know what I'm going to end up editing out as far as what I've said. I may or may not feel some type of way when I go back to rewatch it as I'm editing it and take some stuff out. I hope maybe that you guys, you know, sat down with me and wrapped your gifts as I wrapped mine, and hopefully I didn't put you to crying, and maybe I helped you feel like you weren't alone in this. And I wish you and your family nothing but the absolute best and all the blessings this holiday season and moving into the new year 2022. Whatever it is that you have been praying for, I hope that God gives you peace and wisdom and guidance through that season of waiting or figuring stuff out. I pray that he's there with you and holding your hand through all of that. I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you again tomorrow for another day of Vlogmas. I hope you'll have a beautiful and blessed night. Bye, guys.
Isn't how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories. Oh.